as well as those folks in the main viewing area. My name is Judy. My name is Judy, and I'm going to be narrating this little podcast for you, and what I say is going to go worldwide. PTZ driver again. Holly's headed back to the clover patch. I want to explain when I give instructions to the PTZ driver, that's pan, tilt, and zoom. There's a camera located on the deck, one of the pillars of the deck. And there is a volunteer worldwide, and I think this particular volunteer is out of the United States, who manages that camera. Holly Bear is peeking out again, far left by the clover patch. I'm going to go off mic for a second and slightly relocate my location here on the deck. Okay, I'm back on mic again. We have Honey Bear, our 18-year-old cinnamon phase black bear, right by the window den. And one of the staff members is calling for Lucky, our 7-year-old male, and he's black in color. He's usually late to the party, so that's nothing new for Lucky. Sometimes I call him our teenager because he doesn't always listen. And if he shows up, he'll just do it on his own time. As I indicated earlier, that Honey Bear is in front of the window den, getting a little close to the fence. And if she gets close to that electric fence, she'll get zapped. Although right now I'm not sure if the fence is on or off. We know it whether it's on or off, but Honey Bear does not. She's eating part of a watermelon. She's eating part of a watermelon, and it is one of the favorites of our black bears. And I'm at the far end of the deck looking for Holly Bear, and I actually don't see her at the moment. I'm going to go off mic for just a moment and take another look for Holly Bear. Well, I took another look around and I don't see Holly, and I've also noticed in my looking around that it has started to rain again today. It might be 60 degrees out here in Ely, Minnesota, and quite overcast. A little bit more than a slight breeze, and back to rain. Yesterday we had a different issue. We had very high winds, and we also had road construction. For those of you that have been here on the highway going right across in front of the North American Bear Center, that caused Holly Bear, our 18-month-old little new female, some concerns. I would have to say the road construction was rather loud and a noise that she wasn't familiar with, and the combination of that and the high wind caused her to be pretty nervous and pretty skittish. I'll talk a little bit about Honey Bear since she's out here by the window den. She's our 18-year-old female, and she is a cinnamon phase black bear. She has never had cubs. She was born in captivity on a game farm. She, as well as one of our other bears, Ted, was raised by a private party for their first about 9 years, and we were able to acquire them in the summer of 2007. I kind of thought Holly Bear might make another appearance. She was out just slightly before 4 o'clock, but she's somewhat hesitant right now to come out, and I'll tell you why. It's because Honey Bear is out. And what does that mean for Holly? In the wild, it is a matriarchal society, and that really basically means the females run the show. It also means here in this 2.5 acres of woods, natural woods, when we built the place in 2007, we just double fenced about 2.5 acres of natural woods, and we put in a pond and some waterfalls and brought in some rocks. But what it means when it's a matriarchal society is that here at the Bear Center, Honey runs the show. And what's happened since we've been trying to introduce Holly into the bear enclosure since about May 30th is Honey needs to teach Holly a lesson. And how do bears do that? Well, actually, Honey has chased Holly up a tree numerous times and basically, shall we say, puts her in her place and telling her who the boss is. So Holly is really quite hesitant to come out with Honey. And of course, if Honey's got food and Holly comes near her, obviously she's going to protect her food and shag her up a tree. Holly has actually made friends with one of our other bears, and his name is Lucky Bear. And I'm going to ask anybody on the deck, because I'm at the far end of the deck, has anybody seen Lucky Bear at the other end of the deck? He's a black male. Nobody seen him? I'm going to go off mic and give him a call or two. Not that he's going to listen to me, but sometimes he shows up. PTZ driver, I've been informed from the other side of the deck that Lucky's toward the food shed. I'm going to go off mic and walk that way and see if I can see him and get see what he's doing. Judy back on mic for PTZ driver. I doubt whether you can see her, but if you focus on the rock den, if you focus the PTZ on the rock den, beyond it, Holly Bear is climbing a tree that she has climbed a number of times the last day or two, and she's biting off the branches. I know the people on the deck here can see it because cameras are clicking and videos are going and what have you. Everybody on the deck, try to be quiet. I know it's hard, but try real hard because we might see her again. She has maybe gotten to the ground. For those of you thinking it's easy to find a bear in the woods, this is a good test about how easy it really isn't to find a bear in the woods. One of the other things about bears walking in the woods is you'll probably rarely hear them. PTZ driver, focus on the food shed. PTZ driver, focus on the food shed. Holly Bear. Holly Bear should be in view for the PTZ driver. Holly Bear came to us from Arkansas. She was born of a wild mother, orphaned by a wildfire at a very, very early age. She was picked up by a family and, as we understand it, reasonably attempted to raise her as a domestic animal. You can't do that without permits and a lot of other things. So she was taken away by the Arkansas authorities, sent to a rehab facility, and deemed non-releasable to the wild. The choices for her were very limited last December: euthanasia or find her a forever home. We have become that forever home. She came to us at about Christmas time, actually December 27th, and we call her Holly Bear. It kind of marks the time of the year that we got her. She hibernated until early April, and she had some skin conditions and some issues we wanted to deal with. So she was not cleared by our veterinarian to come out into the 2.5 acres until May 30th. Integrating a fourth bear isn't as easy as one may think, and I kind of will make it an analogy. If you have a family with 3 children, and the youngest being 7 and the other ones being 17 and 18, and all of a sudden at the age of having 3 children at 18, 17, and 7, there's another child brought into the family. The entire family dynamics change because of that new little addition to the family. That's the same type of situation we have here. We've had 3 ambassador bears here, our youngest being Lucky, and now we have to introduce little Holly into the ambassador family. Each of the 3 bears, or now 4 bears, have very different personalities. Honey, the cinnamon-faced bear that's out here, or was out here. She's probably the most solitary of all of them, and the least trusting of all of them. It takes her many, many months to trust members of the staff and volunteers here, and she tends to like about 30 feet between herself and one of the other bears. And if she doesn't like what's going on, she tells them so. So basically, she runs the show in this 2.5 acres pretty much. Not always, but pretty much. Lucky, our 7-year-old male, if he shows himself, he is what I call happy-go-lucky. He's got a very fun, very inquisitive personality. If one of us is out and about doing something, he's probably going to be watching us. I always say he's my supervisor, because he's always there looking at what we're doing, and he's very curious. Holly Bear, who's out here right now, we're not too sure about her personality, but I have made some observations. One of my first observations is that she's persistent. I've seen that, or we have seen that, in how she's trying to make friends with Lucky Bear. When he doesn't pay attention to her, she bothers him, and then he shoos her away, and a minute later, she bothers him again. She wants to play. He may shoo her away, and by gosh, she goes right back and bothers him again, because she wants to play. So I suspect one of her personality traits is going to be persistence, and she seems to be very playful. But yet on the flip side, she's cautious as well, especially with Honey Bear, who has treated her many times already in the 5 weeks she's been out here. I'll point out a couple of her refuge locations. This is Holly Bear. For those of you on the deck and in the viewing area, if you look to your left, there is a large forked dead tree, the highest tree on the left. The top half is dead and the bottom half is alive. That is a very large white pine. White pines are a favorite refuge tree for black bears. The reason why is because of a white pine's bark. The bark doesn't come off very easily, and it is also slightly curved very nicely for the paws of the cubs. When the mother bear comes out of the den, the cubs usually are led to a white pine by their mother, and if there's any type of danger or concern, the mother will make the following noises, which sends the cubs up the white pine, and their instructions are basically to stay there until their mom calls them down. That white pine that I referenced to the left was Lucky's, 7 years ago, Lucky's favorite tree in the whole enclosure. I believe it is also going to be Holly's favorite tree. Her first refuge location was immediately straight out on the other side of the pond, and for those of you on the deck, you can see 1 and 2 deadfalls that have fallen away and are at approximately a 45-degree angle going away from the bear center. Holly has been finding refuge in those 2 deadfalls because at the other end of those deadfalls, she's approximately 12 to 15 feet above the ground, out of the way of Ted, Lucky, and Honey. Well, there you go. Honey's just, again, going to tell her who's the boss. Honey was not very serious. That was just a very half-hearted effort. And actually why Honey did that is, guess what? There's food there. So she shagged her off, and Honey's going to get the leftovers. Now Holly went into those bushes, but I don't know where she went after that. But that wasn't a very serious effort on Honey's part. Honey has learned that Holly will run pretty quickly, and there's no need to expend a lot of effort when you don't have to. Black bears are opportunists, and you just saw a demonstration of that. Honey saw an opportunity. A few treats down there. Hey, I'll shag Holly Bear away and I can have them for myself. Sounds like a pretty good deal to me. The goal of the North American Bear Center is to dispel myths and misperceptions about black bears. There are many myths that we've all grown up with, and one of them is, I'll give you a couple of them. Whoops. Holly Bear is peeking out, wondering if Honey Bear is still there. Yep. Peeking out again. PTZ driver, focus on Honey. Holly is just in those pine trees. And I think Holly better move. I don't know if I'd call this ring around the rosy or not. I'm going to go off mic and let you watch this. PTZ driver, they're playing Ring Around the Rosie. Mike, they ran around those pine trees just a couple times. Holly broke it off and ran up a tree, the same tree she was in about 10 minutes ago. And she knows she's safe up there. And Honey is about 10 feet from the base of that tree. And Honey will be coming into view. PTZ driver, focus on the food shed. Honey is now into view. Holly is still up a tree, watching Honey. This is not unlike behavior you would see in the wild if you had an opportunity to watch. Honey bear is asking for more food, and you've seen some of the staff members put out their hands, basically saying N-O, no. Sometimes you got to do it more than once because they think they can get a few more treats. Now we have Honey she's actually eyeing where Holly is. She's looking. Don't let her fool you. She's looking. Where is Holly? She better be doing what I told her to because I'm the big bear of the 2.5 acres. I'm going to change locations on the observation deck. I'm going to go off mic for a minute. Back on mic again, and I was asked, what is PTZ? Pan, tilt, and zoom camera that is located on one of the pillars here at the deck. And that camera is operated by one of our worldwide volunteers, PTZ driver. Honey is right by the scale. Holly cannot be seen from the deck at this moment, but the PTZ driver actually has the ability anywhere in the world, once they're logged in, to move our camera to view the bears and the bear activity. So I once in a while will give instructions to the PTZ driver as to where the quote-unquote action is here at the North American Bear Center. These worldwide podcasts couldn't happen without the help and dedication of many volunteers that follow the lives of Ted, Lucky, Honey, and now Holly. And they also follow the extensive black bear research that has been done by Dr. Lynn Rogers and his fellow associates for the last 47 years. Dr. Rogers founded this facility, and we built it in 2007. He has researched black bears longer than anybody, consecutively for 47 years. Our mission here at the North American Bear Center is to dispel many of the myths and misperceptions that you may have about black bears. For example, one of them, black bears like honey, so they raid a beehive for the honey. Not true. PTZ driver Holly Bear, focus on the food shed. PTZ driver, we have Holly Bear, focus on the food shed. Bears do not go to beehives for the honey. They actually want the bee larvae, or the immature bee, that gives them protein in their diet. Yes, they may get some honey, but that's not their motivation. Their motivation is the protein that the immature bees give them. I'll give you another myth that many people here at the Bear Center come to us with. They say, I hear mother bears give birth to cubs and they're sound asleep and they wake up in the spring and realize they have birthed cubs. Not true. Cubs are usually born late in January, and the mother goes through a labor process. She is keenly aware that she has cubs, and when the first cub is born, that mother bear attends to every one of the cries of her cubs. In fact, the cubs have a variety of vocalizations that they use to tell their mother what their concerns are. For example, the vocalization of a cub when they're hungry is different than when they're cold. That's different than when they're uncomfortable. So they vocalize very, very early in life about what they want their mother to help them with. So those are just two examples of the myths and misperceptions that I too had before learning about all these myths and misperceptions that I had been raised with that really are not supported by scientific facts. I'm going to be signing off here in a minute. I want to thank all the volunteers, supporters, visitors here at the Bear Center as well as worldwide about joining us today at 4 o'clock to follow the lives of Ted, Lucky, Honey, and Holly and some of their enrichment activities and antics as they happen, very unscripted here at the Bear Center. Enjoy your upcoming 4th of July weekend. For those of you in the United States, wherever your travels may take you, please be safe. Thank you very much.